Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough. So, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Forbidden Depths. Today we have two amazing guests. I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah, I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves because obviously they're going to do a much better job than me.
My name is Joe Silver.
My name is Moose.
We are male performers for, go ahead.
For OnlyFans,
Yep.
just for fans.
Yep, OnlyFans and just
We're
for fans.
located in Los Angeles.
Very nice. Very nice. So,
And it's his birthday today.
Yeah, today's my
that's
birthday.
what I was getting ready to say. You got a birthday boy. So if you guys don't already follow over on Twitter, make sure you hop on over. You can follow Joe at Joe_silverxxx. And Moose, do you have a Twitter?
It's Tatted Moose.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He
Awesome.
runs it. So
I run all the back end stuff that way. That's all my purview.
Nice. Okay. So my first and biggest question is, are you two a team? Are you a partnership? What is going on with your relationship?
Okay, so he's gonna protest, but he's my best friend. And so we met at the gym probably a couple years ago, and then sometime last year, right during the pandemic, we consolidated residences because of cost expenses. So he became my roommate. And then after that, money was getting tighter, and he's like, "Hey, you should think about OnlyFans." And I was like, "I'm not gonna do OnlyFans by myself. That's crazy, And he's like, "I'll help you." And I'm like, "What does help mean?"
Right.
He's like, I'll run the back end stuff, and maybe
I'll film it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the industry. I'm in the film and TV industry. So I can set up the lights and do all the camera work and all that type of thing. And I can edit it as well. So that's why I'm like, oh, I'll do all that for you. You can perform.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really into that. I mean, I do it a little bit, but I really do not like it whatsoever. And I am straight. So, he's bi, so he likes to, he can do more stuff with guys, obviously. And
I like to say I'm greedy. Let's just say that.
And honestly, like our OnlyFans
like the
caters,
best of all worlds. There's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that.
and our OnlyFans caters towards males more than females. I mean,
we know the audience. We know who pays for OnlyFans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And it is easier to find guys for collabs than it is girls.
Yeah.
So,
Let
it is
me tell you, so many people get confused with that whenever they start to come into the industry and they're males and they're like, "Oh, ladies, look at this." And I'm like, you have not done this before, have you?
Literally any lady, regardless of how they look, could walk down the street and be like, "Hey, anyone want to do an adult movie with me?" And they'll have 10 guys raising their hand, so it's completely different, for a guy starting out, a straight guy starting out. And that's honestly why you have so many gay for pay guys doing adult work,
No shame on that, though.
No shame. No, it's super
no shame
lucrative.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's a whole huge market for it. That's how I pulled him in, He has a whole fan base of people who love it,
Yeah, for sure. So I know you kind of were talking about you started doing OnlyFans and performing during COVID. So was that your only inspiration, or did you have some kind of ties to the community in some way before that?
So I actually I used to go dance.
Awesome.
Yeah, right when I moved to Los Angeles about 16 years ago. My partner at the time was doing go-go dance at a gay bathhouse, actually, and at a couple of nightclubs. And he was like, hey, you're pretty well endowed.
Yeah,
you can literally stand in a box and shake it and make money. And I was like, heck, why not? And I did. It was fun. You know, you get to get in the clubs for free. You dance for 3 20-minute sets and you go home with $400 or $500, you know? So I did that for, wow, maybe 10 years. And then at that point, I knew, you know, I'm not a bad looking guy, but you know, my talents really lie if we're at the nude beach.
Okay. So he's being very modest. Anybody that's just listening and not seeing him, he's being very modest.
So I figured I'd always wanted to kind of get into that, but I do know, like from having friends who were go-go dancers, strippers, escorts, and also did adult porn, that it's very stop, go, light, this. It's not sexy fun at all, you know? And that's a big misconception that people think. Even my partner thinks like, oh, well, now you just go hook up, you know, whoever you want. I'm like, you realize I get such anxiety before I film anything. It's not like fun, like, hey, oh, you're hot, let's go have sex and then, you know, make a couple clips. It's not like that at all.
Or the people that we're collabing with, like, you might not be sexually attracted to them. So then it's the issue of, all right, well, I have to, it's mental. You're on film. You have to perform. You have to pretend to be, you know, aroused and like these people, and then you have to finish. So it's not like it's like, oh, there's a hot guy over there who's a 10 or whatever. I'm just gonna, you know, some of these people might not be,
especially starting out.
Especially I mean, especially starting out. If you only have a couple thousand followers, those big names are not going to want to be with you and do collab with you, because what are they getting out of it? They're not. They're getting out of what, 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers. They're not going to do that. And we get people contacting us now and like, hey,
you have very few people that do the following anyway. So if you have like 2,000 followers, you might get like 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean?
And that's what we're getting now. We're getting, you know, messages on Twitter and everything. It's like, hey, I want to collab with you, and they have like 200 followers on Twitter, and it's like, okay, great, but you know, it's content.
Where's the incentive?
But how does that help us? It's content. It's more video, sure. But at the same time, with OnlyFans, it's a lot of like, all right, you help me, I help you. If you have 30,000 followers and I have 30,000 followers, your followers don't know who I am. My followers don't know who you are. So let's do a thing together so we get, you know, cross-contamination of those followers type of thing. If you have 200 followers, doesn't really help us. Sorry. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, it is a business. It's not like we're just going out, you know, it's not like he's just going out having sex with random guys because he wants to. It is a business at the end of the day.
And that's honestly, it's one of the hardest parts of, like, when my fans and people message me like, hey, I'd love to collab with you. And I'm like, you know, it's not like I don't want to, you know, like I have a limited amount of time, you know, and I have to.
We also have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you know.
And I really want to make sure it works. So instead of telling them no right off the bat, I say, hey, how about you get it established, you know, at least an established page where you have a Twitter, where you have an Instagram, where you've got some videos, even solos on your page. Once you kind of get that going, I'll know you're serious, and then come back and talk to me. And I feel like that's a lot easier than me going like, no, you know, I mean,
there's always potential. Like, not everybody blows up like the second they come onto the tracks, right? Some people, it takes them some time. And then some people have network connections and they just blow the fuck up. So, I mean, there's so many different avenues that you could take, but at the end of the day, it is a business. And if you don't treat it like a business, you're either going to burn out or you're going to put yourself in some kind of risky situations you don't need to be in. Or you're going to cost yourself so much. You're going to cost yourself time, energy, and money.
100%. For sure.
And, you know, on Twitter, we have a good engagement where we do, reply to everybody messaging us. So we do see, everybody that messages us on Twitter, we do see that, and we do try to reply to all of you. So it's not like we're ignoring other people or being like, oh, you don't have a profile picture, or you have 10 followers, we don't care about you. We are engaging with you.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can set up a collab with you, because that's just not something that we can do. But we're still talking to you. We're still engaging with you.
Putting up the rapport too. I mean, that's important to be able to communicate with your fans. And I like a personal touch. So I like to do all of my socials myself. So do you do all of your socials yourself?
Yes. 100%. Yes.
So it's either him or it's me.
Yeah. And I have Reddit, I have Instagram, I have Facebook, I have Twitter. Yeah. So those are the main platforms that I advertise on.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
and TikTok. I just started.
I just got another TikTok because TikTok is ridiculous. They ban you over the shittiest kind of stuff.
Oh my God, it's awful. And them and Instagram, I swear, they're awful. And like, I will post a picture and I will make sure there's nothing showing, a sticker over something, and it'll literally get banned 4 or 5 times of that, and then they shut your account down. No questions,
Yeah, 100%. I've got banned on Instagram for selfies.
Right.
Selfies.
Right.
And once for a picture of my boots. I was so pissed. I was like, I wasn't even in that damn picture.
And it's such, because it's not like you can talk to somebody and be like, hey, look at this picture. Is there anything that goes against your community standards? And that you just send it to some random place, and either they say yes or no, or sometimes I feel like they don't even look, and it's just
their AI system
and
then so you lose all of that work.
Yeah. I've kind of stopped giving Instagram as much attention as I'm giving my Twitter, and it's all kind of scary because, who knows what's going on with Elon Musk and Twitter, and like, if that's gonna keep going. But like, it's at least I can show we can show a little bit about what's going on. Yeah. As opposed to being like, hey, here's me in a nice shirt, like join my OnlyFans. Like,
yeah. And a lot of the times, if you hint toward an OnlyFans or a paid site, they flag your photo too.
Right.
Like the verbiage itself. They're like, I don't care what's in the picture. Your words say you're in trouble. And then I'm like,
I got a picture flagged for, it said solicitation, and I'm like, I'm not soliciting anything, like, just the word OnlyFans doesn't mean I'm trying to get people to have sex with me, that's like the opposite of what I'm trying to do.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm gonna say that I haven't been very confident or excited about any of the platforms, like the direction they're going in, because it's like everybody is just completely against the community. Like they have this just completely negative aspect, and there are these people that are just like pushing negativity. And the only thing that I have found in sex work is enlightenment, growth, and freedom. So kind of what have you found since you've started sex work?
So I want to say the biggest thing that I have had a lot of insecurities about me, my body, being accepted, being, in the LGBT community, and being Black. You come up with a lot of things that come across in life that really kind of make you second guess yourself. I'm not sure if everyone's heard of Grindr, right?
Oh yeah.
But Grindr is kind of inherently racist in a lot of ways, right? Like, there's this upper echelon of guy who's got the 6-pack abs, but they're white or Latin, right? And they'll be headless torsos, most of them, and you message them and they may or may not see it. They may or may not respond back. Grindr's done a little bit of work to try to kind of take out the obvious racism out of that. But taking out race like classifications, you can't sort by race anymore like you used to be able to, but there's still a huge amount of that saying, oh, white guys to the front of the line, this is kind of preferred. and it really kind of gave me a complex about it, you know. And I was like, God, am I attractive just to the general community, like white, black, Asian, whatever it is? And then I started doing just solo work after he kind of encouraged me to do it. And I started seeing people from all different walks of life, all different types, just giving me positive feedback.
Yeah, drooling over you, like, holy fuck. And you guys I'm telling you, go check out his Twitter. You'll see what I'm talking about.
It's really such a positive experience in that way. People have been so encouraging. I just thought the people on Twitter were going to be vicious and mean, and I haven't experienced that really at all. I'm sure it's out there. I've gotten a couple of comments of people saying, you know, random some things, maybe 2 or 3. But overwhelming positive reinforcement. And I really have found, like, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I'll literally just go on Twitter and look at some of the people, what they're saying. People are like, I just want to be your friend. I'm like, oh my God, okay, well, let's chat for a bit. You know, like it's really positive. I didn't know that was going to be the case when I started. So
yes. I have found that the majority, now not everyone obviously, but the majority of the sex work community, they're super inviting, they're super empowering. They're whenever it comes down to standing up for each other, even if you have a difference, they're going to be like, that's my people, you don't fuck with my people. Now, obviously there are some that aren't like that. There are some shitty people, but I mean, there's shitty people in every part of life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I found way more support. When I had questions starting out, people were so willing to help and say, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. Like learning how to run your own page, learning how to like market yourself, and whether or not to be, you know, pay-per-view or to be, you know, just a subscription and everything is free. Everyone was really willing
when to post and when not to post, how often to post.
I mean, they really do want you to succeed. And I feel like that is not always the case in every profession, you know?
100%. Anything corporate that I ever worked in, it was so fucking rough because they always thought you wanted their job. So they always tried to make you feel like you had a place. They always tried to push you down. They always discouraged you trying to get promotions or raises. I'm going to tell you, whenever I worked in the corporate world, it was so shitty. And my mental health was complete fucking garbage because there's just so much negative energy, full of hate. And I haven't found that in sex work.
Oh, not at all.
It's nothing but empowering, uplifting, like confidence in all bodies, like not just like, I know you were talking about like slim white, slim Latin, and that be like the biggest preference. In sex work, there's none of that. It's like there are niche for everything. You know, there's categories for everyone, and
for every body type, every kink. It's great, and I really love to see that. And when people hit me up and I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about you having to be this like stereotypical perfect 10. Like there is someone out there, there is a group of people out there who are going to love you for whatever it is that you bring to the table. You know, and I think that it's not really like that in other professions, you know, like it really isn't.
I completely agree.
The more I do it, sometimes I would lie in bed at night after a weed gummy and go like, what am I doing? And I wake up the next day and there'd be something else, be like, oh, this is why I do this, you know, like it's fun in a lot of ways. If I can tell you, I'm sure it's probably going to be a subject coming up, but being a guy having to perform can be super stressful. And you know, when you're like go and you're like it's not going to and having to you know have performers like look at you, and so many guys have gone through that. All I've gotten was support when that something like that were to happen. And you know, it's really helpful to be able to talk that. I'm like, hey, just relax, let's hang out for a bit, let's talk, let's get, you know, figure out what, and before you know it, we're going along and having a great scene. So
yeah. And it's exhausting. People do not realize how exhausting it is for male performers, because I mean, it's like you have to be able to control body parts on command. Like
yes,
get hard,
yes,
stay hard. Like
yes.
that's fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like to
It's
be
not
able to
easy
have
at
that
all.
kind of control.
Or if we're doing like multiple people, it's like, all right, this person comes, now it's your turn to finish. So you got to kind of like, all right, let's not take 20 minutes between cum shots. Can you hurry up a little bit? So then it's added pressure onto that. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's something you have to deal with as well.
Yes, for sure. So I do have to ask, do you have any tips for someone that is coming in new when it comes to situations like that? So if you are having a little bit of trouble, kind of what do you do to help yourself mentally?
So I haven't done it yet, and I don't. Well, I don't say I recommend it, but it is something that I'm sure a lot of people might shy away from. But have you ever heard of Trimix?
No, I don't.
No.
Wait,
Oh wow, I'm about to blow your mind right now.
I don't know. Tell me more. Tell me more.
So there's a prescribed serum, right, that you can go to a doctor and get a prescription for. You put it in the size of like an insulin needle, and you do maybe 0.5 cc's of it or less. And
we're not doctors.
We're not doctors. I'm not recommending this.
Right.
I'm just saying it's out there. And to
Right,
be
right.
quite honest, I actually don't have the prescription yet myself. It's something that I'm going to get.
Right.
But you do that, and it sounds way scarier because I've heard about it and I was like, there's no way.
Right.
But then it actually is. Like a little hairline acupuncture needle or insulin needle in the side of the base of the penis, and you are erect until you need not to be. Yeah, and it's if you've seen a porn when the scene starts and the guys are rock, and then this whole scene goes through, and then they finish and they're still rock, chances are they are using Trimix. Yeah, so it's also, it can be abused like any substance. I highly recommend not abusing it if you do get it, because if you do mess up on dosage, you can end up in the ER. Yeah.
I would say for
So
sure.
yeah, there is a antidote. It's the same chemical that's in nasal spray, Afrin, that you're supposed to use. Yeah, if you have any issues, and it's not, like I said, not take advantage of it and use it.
Right.
It's mainly for people who have really problems with ED or for sex workers. You know.
Yeah.
So
I think the non-drug aspect is like having videos, like a spank bang type of thing that you can go to
fluffer
quickly, or fluffer, yeah.
Yeah.
But something that you can, all right, give me a second, you run to the bathroom, you look at these videos, something that can get you going and get you pretty close, so that when you get back into the scene, because the beauty of editing, you can cut. So you shoot a scene for 20 minutes. All right, I need a second. Run to the bathroom. Do what you need to do. Get pretty close. Come back. Reshoot, and then get your money shot or whatever you have to do. Like,
And
those are good things to have.
With the situation where you're not like really attracted to like physically the person that you're being with, but you still need to perform, that would be super fucking amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, he's going to be embarrassed by it, but since I'm really close to this guy, he knows, like, if I turn my brain off, how I can, using his hands, can get me to the point. I'll excuse myself, be like, Bubs, I need you to help me in the bathroom for a second. He'll roll his eyes, he'll go within the bathroom, come back, and we shoot the scene. Like, it's happened before. And you feel a little bit ashamed by it when, like, with the performers kind of just like lying there, but it's necessary to get it done.
Yeah, and it's not anything against them. Like anybody that's listening, that if you're a new performer and that kind of happens, it's not anything against you. So some people, they can't finish or do what they need to do in some situations if they're not mentally in a certain headspace, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So climax is the same way. I mean, whenever you think about it, before I got into porn, I didn't know like all the crazy angles and shit, you know?
Yes.
People don't know that you have like two guys like standing right on top of you and you can't even see what the fuck's going on because they have to get all these shots that are super close up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like you have to be okay with people invading your space, all up in your shit. And you still got to perform while they're doing that. Like you got a guy sitting on top of you trying to get the shot. And you know, you're like, oh, this is a little weird.
He's been in some, and I'll let him speak for it. He's gonna come back in a second. We just have to charge the computer, but there have been POVs where I need my hands free, and he'll literally have the camera.
So I'm like over here,
like right on top of me, and I'm like, this isn't awkward at all. This is a total natural thing. Let's just have, you know. And when we did a birthday scene for me on Friday, and like one of the guys was kind of like halfway off the bed, and he's like, if you need to hold on to my legs just for support, like you can hold on to me just so he can like get the shot, you know. Like that's not stuff that happens just normally when you're having a good time, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, coming from like the film and TV, because that's what my main job is, I'm trying to make it look the best and kind of put a story to it as much as I can, and make it look good. And you know, I like a lot of things like with this compared to other like shows or whatever, is there's a lot of quick cuts in movies and type of thing. This, we found out that they don't really want that. So they want a hold. If there's say a blowjob scene, you're holding it for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, or whatever, because people that are watching it want that long duration of that particular shot. And then we might switch to a different shot of a different position or whatever, and then again it's holding. But I've had to learn that too, because at the beginning I was moving the camera around and trying to get these cool shots because I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm in the industry. And then it's like, oh, people don't really want that. Yeah. It's like, oh, they don't want that. They want that constant. All right, let's keep it here for 5 minutes. All right, we're moving here for 5. You know, and for me, it's boring because it is what it is.
I noticed a lot with the more recent shit that a ton of people want more amateur looking shit.
Yes.
Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of collab people that I've been working with. They are like I have a guy who can actually film, you know, and come with me. We can get. They're like, well, my fans really kind of like if I just set the tripod up and we just kind of go and have fun. And I was like, wait, what? Like that's crazy, you know? But that's what they like, you know.
Yeah.
There is a shift, or if your fan base is kind of used to that from you, you know, then that's what they like to see more of, you know.
For sure.
So,
or they want like we did a scene where I was taking a shower and he was like spying on me type of thing. So they like the kind of reality type of, like, that's always a big thing where, oh, could we get caught, or does this person know that I'm looking at him, or type of thing. Then people, they love that all the time.
I literally I was like, you have to come to my job. I'm going to go into a bathroom stall. I want you to hold the camera over the top of the stall. And like, he was so terrified of someone coming in. He's like, no, there's people here. I'm like, no, it's fine. They won't see. He's like, no, I have to wait. I'm like, just do it.
Because then people are walking in, because it's like, you know, I'm worried about him losing his job more than anything else. So
we got it done.
Oh, good. Good. And you know, people do love that shit, like the voyeur or the closet perv kind of shit. People love it. The biggest issue with that is the consent aspect, especially with all the shit that happened, you know, the past few years. So you have to be like, disclosure, this is all consensual, before somebody's going to be like, that's wrong.
Yes. OnlyFans is very, very strict about the consent. You can't do anything with anyone sleeping. You know, it has to be just for fans is a little bit more lean, as long as people have consented to be in, like they've signed the waiver. but OnlyFans won't even let that content be displayed. You know,
and we're not like doing stuff out in public where there's really like other people around. We're just kind of staging it where it's like he's in his car and I come up to the window and I shoot him in his car. But we're like in a parking garage. We're not like in a park or anywhere like that. We're not like out in public.
I have seen people that do that shit.
Oh yeah, there's a guy. He's literally in the 0.02% of OnlyFans.
I'm just not about it. I'm just not about it because I mean, I have kids. I know other people have kids. I'm not okay with kids seeing that. Like, it's okay to educate your kids. I'm all for educating them, let them know what's going on, but they shouldn't see two adults doing some kind of crazy stuff, dressed up like a fucking clown or some shit, fucking somebody on the side of the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's too much for me.
So like we try to go in that realm a little bit, but it's staged. It's like,
you have to find a happy medium. You know, where it's staged, but it still has a feel of being real.
It's like I'm taking a shower. There's a camera right there. Oh, I know it's filming.
Right.
Yeah.
I see him in the doorway. Oh, I know that he's there watching. You know what I mean? And then we'll just edit it together where it looks like, oh, I don't know that he's there, and I'm not pretending, but obviously I know that he's there, and it's not, you know, yeah.
What's this camera here? Oh, I'll just go about my business.
Oh, I fucking love it. I love it. So your all's chemistry is like off the fucking charts. Is it like this when you film too? Like, does it just flow?
It's really funny because he and I, like, you know, we hang out like pretty much every day, work out together. I know everything about him, that kind of thing. So I feel like it translates to the screen. Him being 100% straight, right, is a challenge that we still come up against, because him actually performing, which isn't his favorite thing, like you said, it can be harder. So I've actually found workarounds. So I actually hired a girl to come and film for us, so that, you know, he could be more engaged in what's going on, be more excited. Even then, it can be difficult because, like I said, you can have fun, everything's great, and then you stick a camera in your face, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, your body's like, I don't like that. You know, it's not so easy. So it's important that we just feel comfortable, you know, and then try new things to kind of see what happens. And it's trial and error, I'll tell you right now. Like, you try something, oh, that worked great. You try something else, you're like, okay, we can edit that so that it looks, you know, we can use it. And then you try something else and you're like, yeah, ooh, we're not using that. Yeah.
That comes with time. I feel like the more experience you get, kind of the more knowledge you have, the better you are equipped for situations like that. Because like, it's kind of like improv. Like, when certain shit happens, you kind of have to be able to react instantly in that moment, you know?
And like you're saying, one of the things that fans, they do like authenticity, right? And they can see that and feel it. So sometimes, even if he's going through the motion, he's not really into it, it really does reinforce in their head, oh, this guy is straight, you know, like he's not acting like it. And there's a huge market for like that, like, oh, converting the straight guy kind of thing. Huge market for that
kind of stuff.
Which we try to like lean into, you know, because it's like, I mean, I'll touch your penis or whatever because we're trying to shoot a scene. It's like, in real life, am I attracted to penis? No. Like, I've shot him and his partner before, and afterwards they were like, were you into that? Did you like it? And I was like, no. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not into guys. So it's like, it is what it is, you know, but we try to lean into that where it's like, if I have to make a scene work, I'll play with your nipples or I'll stroke your dick a little bit. And it's not getting me off, it's getting him off. And he's the most important thing. It's his name on the OnlyFans. It's his main Twitter. I would like to be in the background. I would like to film and I would like to edit it. And that's what I would like to do. And most of the time I do that. When we have collabs, I'm filming. And and I'm the one that's, all right, let's do a scene and we're doing this and that. And, you know, I talk to the other collabs that we have and I say, hey, what do you like to shoot? What do you not like to shoot? What does your fans like? What do they not like?
Right.
So that at the beginning, I can figure all this out and be like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And I can put together a scene and then it goes like this. And then, you know, we shoot one scene for 5 minutes and then, all right, let's switch positions and let's shoot over here for 5 minutes. And some people are like, oh, my fans don't really care what I shoot. Okay, great. So I'm just going to take ahead. And then other people we've shot with is my fans like it like this and only like this. Okay, great. So now I know that's it.
Right.
Like one of the guys we shot with, it was all POV, the whole thing. So it was me literally like him, this, and he was giving Joe a blowjob, and it was like this, and we did 2 different shots of it, but it was really him standing up, going like this, shooting down, and then him laying down on the bed with also shooting like this, looking down at the bed.
And
that was it.
And that guy had like 500,000 Twitter followers. So we're like, we're doing exactly what you want.
And then other people, and then other people are like, I don't really care what you want to do. Do whatever you want. Okay, great. So then I'm going to take over and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it.
Creative freedom.
Yeah. And most other collaborators, they're very, very open to doing like just figuring it out on the fly, you know, and making it so that both parties are comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the biggest things is if it's hard to find people to collab with, once you find that person, most of them are pretty chill about what, you know, we do and how it works out, you know. So that is a huge positive.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be vulnerable, right? It's like you can't hide behind clothes or anything. You're literally naked.
Right.
And I can. But there's literally like you can't. You know, it is what it is. You have to, and you have to work with each other, because if you're 2 collabs and you're trying to do this and one has a bad attitude, it's not going to help the scene whatsoever. So if he's having trouble, the other collab's going to be like, all right, well, how can I help you? Can I do this? Right. Can I do that? What do you like? Oh, I like my balls sucked. Okay, I'll do that for a little bit. It's a collab because we're all trying to get to the same destination.
Right.
We're all trying to get the money shot so that we can all get paid. I mean, that's what this is. This is a business.
Effective communication.
Right. Exactly.
And it is a business. It is what it is. Like, does he enjoy fucking? Yes, we all enjoy fucking. Do we all enjoy masturbating and coming? Yes, we all enjoy that. But at the end of the day, it's a business. We're trying to get paid for this.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
and in the back of my head, I'm always thinking about like, how does I look? How's the shot look? How does this look? Am I going to be able to edit that out? Do I need to stand here? There's been a couple times where he's like pulling me over to the side. I'm like, wait, I was enjoying. Okay, I need to be here. So.
And it's easy to get caught up, especially if there's chemistry there. You know, because some people you meet and there's just like fucking electricity, right? And other people, it's not like that. And it's okay. It doesn't have to always be like that, because each scene is going to be its own. But at the end of the day, you have to learn how to communicate effectively and kind of adapt to those situations, because being a performer, you have to be able to adapt, right?
Yes, 100%. And like, I mean, it's rare because I am a chemistry guy, right? It's rare to meet someone and then right off the back be like, oh my God, this is, you know, it has happened. And when it does, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? Like I don't have to worry so much because I know everything's going to go well because we're having a good time, and he's there to he's like, just go with it. I'll make sure, you know. But for the most part, it is like, let's communicate well so that we can make sure this turns out the way we want it to.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, also for me, camera wise, it's like if you're getting close to finishing and I have to change positions or I'm not in the right place to be, that's a problem. So I'm usually like, all right, tell me when you're kind of close so that we can prepare ourselves for that. You know what I mean?
So do you guys have any tales, like a tap, or like, what do you guys do to signal if you're getting ready to climax?
So
I'll usually know when he is, type of thing.
He knows my body.
I know his body. He'll look at me in a certain way, and I'll be like, all right. But at the same time, like I'm trying to get the best shot possible for the video, right? But I'm also trying not to disturb him or whoever else we're shooting with, because then it takes them out of the moment, and then that is what it is. You know what I mean? So it's going that fine line of, all right, are you close? Are you not close? I need to change positions. I need to get into this position. You need to be in this position. They need to be in this position. So it's a fine line of, all right, I'm trying to get this good shot. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. And it's really, he knows, like, if he's looking at time, and you can have a 3.5 hour video, right? So like, and he looks at me and he's like, I can tell for him too, like, oh, okay, it's time for me to kind of try to get close because we're going over time. And so I appreciate actually having him there so that I can actually take my cues. And I think we've picked that up over the last 9 months. So
yeah. I mean, most of our videos are like in that 10 to 15 minute range type of thing.
Yeah.
We just shot a video where it was in the 30, I think it was like 32
but
minutes.
But it was
three of them, you know, and it was 2 people having sex. So obviously that's going to be a little bit longer.
Right.
So it is what it is. You know, a blowjob video doesn't need to be 30 minutes because who's going to sit and like, let's be real. You want to watch the end. You want to watch the climax. You're gonna
everyone fast forward
to the end. I mean, let's be real. So you don't need a 30-minute blowjob scene,
right?
Like, I mean, you can have a 20-second.
That's only for those edging people, right?
Yeah,
and it's just for the end. You know what I mean? So like, if it's a sex scene or whatever, yeah, that's going to be a little bit longer because it's going to have multiple layers to it.
And as a proud edger, I'll tell you, we still fast forward. We still fast forward. We just go through a different video. That's all.
You gotta find your favorite part to edge to.
Exactly. You can rewind it back. You can play it forward, but there's definitely some movement going on. Can you believe he just learned what edging is today?
Yeah,
he didn't know what it meant. Yeah. I was like, what do you do? How long does it take you? Jeez.
I'm celibate.
Yeah, so
I can tell that's a lie. Not your body language.
Lies. Yes. He likes to let people to think that he's all innocent and everything. It's just an act. No. Yeah.
Well, at least he does it with confidence.
Yes, he does.
So we kind of talked about how whenever you're doing a collaboration with someone, you kind of discuss with them what they want to do, kind of what their style is. So let's talk about the no-goes for you. What is off limits, soft and hard limits? Tell me what you don't do.
So this part is actually, it's pretty unique to me. And I do have a boyfriend, a partner, right? Of 8 years. And so when I decided that I was going to do OnlyFans, and he was supportive about it, his limit was no actual intercourse part, like no actual fucking. Right. And at the time, you know, I was like baby stepping into it. Right. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do solos mostly, and then like some side-by-side stuff, because I didn't even really have anybody to collab with. Right. You know, and then as I started gaining steam and popularity, I actually pulled him in to do a couple scenes with me. He actually had some friends who are in the porn industry, and we did collabs together. We did like Blow Bang, where there was 5 and 6 of us and that kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but actual sex is where he drew the line. He's like, I don't really want to open up Twitter and see my boyfriend banging away these 20 guys. He's like, there will be a lot of questions that I'm not prepared to answer. Right. And so I was like, okay, so we can work with that. And that has been a challenge with finding collaborators who are willing to not do that all the way. Right.
Some like it because they're like, oh, it's an easy day off for me.
Yes.
That's great. It's just a blow job or a hand job. Like that's easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Knowing for like guys having to prepare and that time it takes to prepare, they don't have to do that. They can actually work with someone who's going to bring stuff to the table and not have to do that whole thing. Right.
But a lot of them do. But a lot of them do want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is like, I only do hardcore stuff, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's just not what we're doing at the moment.
Right.
So it's just finding those collabs that are okay with that. And, you know, maybe in the future, that's something you guys can talk about and you can get okay with that. But at the moment, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, whenever you come into the industry, you always need to set your limits, right? You need to know what they are. you need to be comfortable with them, and you need to stand behind them.
Right? Yes.
And that's why when I'm filming them, that's why I always ask at the beginning, okay, what do you like? What do you not like?
Right.
You know, because I don't want to be in a position where, you know, it's awkward for you and then it's awkward for me because I'm trying to get a shot and they're like, no, like whatever. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. We're going into it. All right, what are you into? What are you not into? What should we film? What should we not film? All those type of things, you know?
Yeah. Which is conversations that need to be had. It doesn't matter if you just now start out or if you are a veteran of 10 years, that is always a conversation that needs to be had.
Well, I think that's in real life too. Like if you're with a guy or a girl and not even in porn or OnlyFans or whatever, it's still like, hey, what do you like? What do you not like? You know, like it's that.
And have it before you guys all show up together to film. It's very important to have that beforehand. I did have a guy who he was traveling, and that's where a lot of OnlyFans or just regular content creators, whatever, they travel a lot to get different faces because there's only so many people where you live. I found that a lot of times people who travel tend to overbook because of the number of cancellations that happen, right? So that's always something to be wary of. And I had a guy who was literally getting ready to come over. I'm like, hey, just to reiterate, you know, we're not actually having sex. And he's like, oh, wait, I forgot about that. You know, I don't know if this is going to be worth the drive because that's what my fans see. His whole thing was, you know, he's a bottom, big, huge butt. Like, he's like, you know, that is kind of what my draw is, you know? And I was like, I totally get that. You know, and if this is a hard line, no hard feelings. He was like, I appreciate you reiterating before I came. And he did hit me up later and he was like, how about mimicking? And I was like, well, I don't know. Let's see how we are with it with mimicking. I don't know if how that's going to look on camera and if that'll be okay. But he actually had to leave. I wasn't available that night. But those are things, that conversations that really need to be had, you know, before you're in the moment in case there is a non-starter for somebody.
Yes, 100%. And you don't know if this person has past trauma or PTSD or something. You know what I mean? Maybe you're just like in the mood to slap somebody. Do you know if this person likes to be slapped? Like that's conversations that have to be had, right?
Yes, for sure. There was a guy who showed up to our blow bang and he was a pup. I don't know if you've seen, you know, and so he was wearing that mask. And I was like, okay, I don't have, like, everyone in my video so far has been like, you know, fully visible and that kind of thing. And I was like wondering to myself, I'm like, is this going to be an issue? And I'm like, no, at the end of the day, it was something that was fine. But I do kind of wish that the guys who were going to be there would be like, hey, there's one guy coming. He's going to be wearing a dog mask. So I just want to make sure you're okay with that, you know. And it was an interesting 15 minutes as he was putting it on, and I'm like, wait, what is that? I'm kind of go with the flow with that kind of thing.
That leads me to talking about kink. You got to tell me about your kinks. I want to hear.
So we were just talking about this in the live stream. My favorite thing, I love my balls licked. Like, it's literally, you don't even have to give me a blowjob if you're good at ball licking and nipple play. Like, those are huge things that really, really turn me on. There was a guy who wanted to collab, who only wanted to do nipples. And I was like, I don't know if we can make a 20-minute video just on nipples. I'm sure there's somewhere out there that can make that happen. I like it. I like it a lot, but do I like it that much? Probably not. Those are probably two of the big ones. Since like we do get a lot of people who like just baiting, which is called, you know, masturbating, bro baiting, that kind of thing. That's a huge kink that like a lot of people come to, and a lot of sites on Twitter, like bait sites, they have featured me because that is one of the things that I do a lot of, you know. So side by side jerking, circle jerking, those kinds of things. That's a pretty big, I mean, I guess you could click that on Pornhub and that's kind of what will come up, you know, kind of like the bro bait, car baiting, like he was telling you about, like that's kind of a thing too. being watched, kind of like that kind of thing is a big thing that we have gotten into. Those are kind of the main ones. Yeah. Having that. A lot of people, since like I said, I'm that greedy guy. A lot of people, they hit me up and they're like, "Are you gay? Are you straight? What's your kind of deal?" And I'm like, I like everything,
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just I do tend to gravitate towards easy. I don't necessarily like to work too hard for it. So that will lead me into working with more guys. It does, just generally.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of the niche that we found. I had one comment from a guy. He messaged me and he's like, there aren't a lot of men of color who do hot jerk off videos. There just aren't. And he's like, I really appreciate that you do that. And I was like, oh, I mean, I just, I didn't know that there were going to be people saying like, thank you for putting this content out there,
Well, it's a form of therapy, right? Most people don't realize that, but it is. And there's so many ways that you can help people. Like just the therapeutic end where maybe somebody's overworked, maybe they got a lot going on in their personal life, maybe their job is extremely stressful, and then they come home and they're like, you know what, I need just 10 minutes to myself. That 10 minutes means so fucking much, right?
Yeah. Yep. It totally does. And I mean, I've been there too, and we all do. And then people have their favorites. It's totally surreal to hear people like, oh my God, you're like, I favorited you, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of with that support, I know you've had fans that are super supportive. The community's been super supportive. So do you have anyone like a family member or like friends outside of the community that are supportive about you?
So my sister and probably on some level, I'm sure she's probably told my mom, but she knows that I'm doing this, super supportive of it. And that has probably been one of the biggest challenges that I can say. It's hard when you go, to a party and everyone's talking about what they do and what they enjoy. And you don't want to kind of be like, out of left field, be like, I have an OnlyFans and I love it. Like this is what I did today. That's probably one of the biggest challenges that I face, because you get these mini milestones where, like all of a sudden you have 25,000 Twitter followers and all of a sudden you've got 300 OnlyFans fans, and you want to just share that and like post on your regular social media, like I'm doing great. And you kind of can't, just because of fear of being judged. A lot of my family is conservative. So I do know kind of when I can bring it up with my close friends, the people that care about me no matter what. I feel like I've talked their ear off about it. I mean, this guy especially, like him and my boyfriend that both separately and together came to me. They're like, Jay, I think you're a little obsessed with this OnlyFans thing. And I'm like, well, it's tough. I there's a lot of aspects that we were talking about.
I'm excited to work, damn it.
I know, it's great. I enjoy it. So I think they've kind of really helped kind of get that aspect of me out. I'm an extrovert and I love to talk. I love to, I mean, everyone wants to brag about what they're doing, especially if they're having some success at it, So I do use them because just generally out in the community, I don't go up to a stranger and be like, I had my penis out today and I had someone film it. So, it is very important to kind of have that core group of people that you can talk to and share it with. And it's always nerve-wracking / exciting to kind of tell somebody new, to see, their facial expression and see how they're going to take to it. Most people have a lot of questions and are really supportive.
They don't know how much work it takes either. That's
God, they don't know. And that's what I will tell people too, who are like, I want to get started in doing OnlyFans. I'm like, do you really? Because it's not easy. You know,
No.
there's
You
a
gotta,
lot of
you gotta become
error.
a marketer. You gotta learn how to do filming and editing. Like
Yep.
your advantage is you have an amazing partner that helps you with that shit. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
start out completely solo, you got to do all that shit on your own. Like it's hard shit.
Right. And even he didn't know like what's our price point? What should we
Mm-hmm.
set it at? You know, like,
well, that's the thing too. Yeah. We, at the beginning we did the pay-per-view, right? So we did a price point and then we were doing pay-per-views, but no one was really buying the pay-per-views. So we're like, at this point, let's just put out content. We'll raise the price a little bit and then we'll just put everything for free. And then that worked out really well.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I know, like my mom knows and a couple of my friends know that I like film and stuff. So, and some of them are like, you know, I joke with my college friends because in college, like we're all in film and TV and we're like, our dream is like, let's shoot porn. Like that would be so, and it's like, all right, well, now I'm shooting porn. You know, it's not like the porn I thought, because I'd be like, I thought I'd do straight porn, you know, and then it's like I'm doing gay porn, but it is, you know, and then I have those friends that are like, how can you shoot that? Like, doesn't like that disgust you whenever? And I'm like, well, I'm not into it. It's not like I get aroused by watching it or whatever. To me, it's just a job, right? It's like, I'm trying to get the lighting. I'm trying to get the camera. I'm looking at it straight as a business.
Right.
And, you know, yeah, the camera's here and I'm in this guy's, you know, I'm in this guy's butthole, basically.
Right.
This is what it is.
We did the first, like the first actual kind of three-way situation where I got to stand back and watch him like go in. And I was like, dude, he is all biz, like he is in there. And I was like, wow, is that how you are with me? I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable.
And at the
with
beginning,
that.
And at the beginning, it was weird. You know what I mean? It is like, I was not like, I'm not into this. I'm not into guys. So it's like me shooting this scene. It's nothing for me, but I'm trying to look at it as a business. I'm trying to look at it as a filmmaker. I'm trying to get the best shot possible. And so that it's easier to edit and then we can just put it out as content. So that's, I kind of turn my brain off of, I'm just trying to shoot this. It is what it is.
And he actually, like the guy that we shot with before last, he's like, oh my God, he actually said he liked my camera work. He might want me to work with it. And I'm like, look at you. You can really be able to. You know, I know, for sure.
Yeah. I can't use it on my resume, but
filming, you know, Discovery Channel.
Well, I mean, if you want to make a resume for porn, though,
yeah.
You know, that's
two animals in the wild, you know.
I think, isn't Burbank like the porn capital of the world? Like, I'm sure there's a huge market going right over.
Years.
I could see it happening. I think you should make a resume for porn.
All right.
So tell me about what tips you would give yourself. Any tips that you have right now you would give yourself when you first started?
So
I think Reddit was a big one right at the beginning.
Reddit was huge.
You didn't find out that for a couple months in. So I think like starting out on Reddit was a big one for him. For me, it's just filming wise, it's just, you know, like we said, like holding on shots longer than I would want to in a film or TV sense, you know what I mean? Because if we're shooting live TV or whatever, it's like shot here, we're going back and forth in cameras, panning, all these type of things.
No wide angles. That's what.
So at the beginning of at the beginning of my those shoots, you know, a lot of the early videos, I had a lot of camera movement and a lot of wides. Oh, look, let me get wide of so you can see everything. You know what I mean? So now it's more, I'm holding on one shot static. And then I'm moving to another shot after a couple minutes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like those are some things that I've learned filming wise. People also like a lot of expressions. So a lot of like the early videos I'm just focused on like the penis and it's just there. And now a lot of these videos I'm more out a little bit more. So I'm getting expressions a little bit more because people have asked, you know, that's what they've wanted. They've written us and I want to see expressions and stuff. I don't want to see just the dick and, you know, and the whole whatever. We have that too, like for people that want it, but they want that, you know, they want those emotions. They want that.
They want to see you into it.
They want
see
the lip biting. They want those type of things.
And for the orgasm, it's just important on the face as it
Mm-hmm.
is for the money shot. Like it's both.
They need to see that moan.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
and, you know,
for sure.
I've had to turn away people that wanted to collab with me because they were like, well, my face can't be in it. And I'm like, well, then we can't do this.
Yeah, then we can't shoot. It's exactly that's it. Like people like to see that, you know, you're enjoying yourself, and they can, I mean, a lot of times people are watching porn in secret. They can't actually have the volume up, so that like facial expression is all that they get to knowing that you're really into it, you know? One of the other things starting out, like we talked about, you know that collaborators can be super flaky. Like when you do get a collaborator,
it's exhausting.
It's more than half the time. I'd say 60% of the time they will cancel or reschedule.
I mean, we had one time where we drove to the guy's house and we waited outside the house and we're like, hey, we're here. And we literally contacted them an hour earlier. Are you good to go? Yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
And then he texted us like 3 hours later, sorry, I fell asleep. It was like,
yeah, it was, thank God he lived like 3 blocks away, because I was so irritated by that.
But then that's like, all right, we were counting on that content for this week or these next couple of days, and now we don't have that. So now what is the plan? Now we have to pivot and be like, all right, we'll do a scene like this, or we'll do a scene like that, or we'll contact someone else, or blah, blah, blah.
He makes a great point. Backups, right? So when you do have something planned, try to have a contingency on like what you can do yourself.
Especially if you're traveling.
Yes, 100%, you know, and there's so much that you can do, you know, there's so much you can do. I got to a point where I was like, oh, I can't fuck, right? But like there's so much other stuff that you can still do that'll make a hot video, you know, like there's feet, there's toys, there's a lot of different things that you can do that still bring excitement and fun, and a lot of stuff people don't necessarily even see because everyone kind of just goes to the straight up sex thing, you know?
For sure.
So I think that's something that you can explore, especially starting out, if you're not able to get all the collaborators that you want, you know? Another thing I will say too, before you go live, try to get a database, a collection of videos already ready. I had a few that we stored up. There were some even 6 months before we actually started that like I used and kind of put towards, but you need to be releasing stuff at least twice a week, once or twice a week, to get your fan base up, because people get bored really quickly. And if you don't have that, it's really hard to keep your momentum. You know,
or they'll find someone else that does have that. So you have to have like, you know, like one of the guys we were working with at one point, he has like, what is he? He has like 3 months in backlog.
So
he's like, oh, I have these videos for 3 months. So if he goes on vacation or if there's a lull, he still has videos that he can put out. So, you know, you have to like, all right, I got 2 or 3 or 4 videos stored up so that I can post in the next, so I have enough content to post in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because I might not have any videos in the next 2 to 3 weeks with people. You know what I mean? Those are always,
for sure,
you know, good things to have in the back burner, you know?
And one of the biggest things I'll say too is to try not to stress too much about the numbers in the beginning. I am a huge competitor. I compete with myself. I compete with other people. I was looking at those numbers, looking to see if I had us every hour on the hour, trying to see, like, what am I doing wrong? How come I can't get more? There will be good days and there will be bad days. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, you can put out a great video, you can, you know, work as hard as you can to get everything perfect, and still it'll take time for someone to see it, for it to be retweeted, for followers come along, and
word of mouth for people to talk to each other.
Usually, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is pretty low, right?
Yeah,
usually, like subscriber wise, he'll be like, "Oh, we got 2 today," and it's like a Wednesday. But then on Saturday, it's like, "Oh, we got 11," and there's no rhyme or reason. We haven't posted extra or posted anything new on those days. It's just like, all right, more people are on Twitter or Reddit on these type of websites on a Saturday than they are on a Wednesday, because maybe they're working and they have a family and they're tired and they don't want to scroll through all of this shit and look at this.
And even if you have a bad Saturday, even if a Saturday doesn't go great, try not to let yourself get down and discouraged by it. I've fallen victim to that, and it's not something that you can control, you know? So you just kind of redouble down, say, hey, I'm going to do this again, and try different things, you know, because honestly, like something you think sucks, someone else will absolutely love, you know? There's been times where I was just like, I have no ideas on what I'm going to do. All right, I'm just going to throw this beanie on, throw on a scarf, and act like it's cold outside, and then do a masturbation video. And I didn't think anyone was going to like that. It was huge. Like people loved it, you know? So just trying stuff, trial and error to see what works, see what doesn't. Don't be afraid to be creative.
And there's people into everything. Like if you don't think they like it, somebody out there likes it.
Yes.
So
anybody that's listening, there's even porn categories for disabled people. They
yes, there's huge, it's huge.
It is crazy. And see, I kind of knew that coming in because I started as a dominatrix, so I know I kind of was already exposed to the kink community before. But there's a lot of people that come in and they don't know that, and they think, oh well, I've had kids, I have scars on my stomach. There's a market for that.
There's a market for it. You don't have to have 6-pack abs. You don't have to have you don't have to
have a big dick. You can have a you have a micro penis, and there's people that are into that.
People that love it.
So it's like you have to find your niche, you know what I mean?
And lean into it and embrace it, because people will embrace you if you have the confidence to do it, you know?
And it shows that if you like it too, if it shows that you enjoy it, they'll enjoy it as well. You know what I mean? That's a big thing too.
That's a big
If you don't enjoy it, they're going to see right through that. And they're going to be like, all right, he doesn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? He enjoys it. I don't really enjoy it. And I play up on that because, you know, I am straight and I don't want to be, you know, touching his dick. And I play up on that of like, I don't like that. You know, and I play up on that as well, because that's what my role is, right? My role on this is, you know, I am straight, but my role on this is also a straight guy. You know what I mean? But for money, I'll push that barrier a little bit.
I'm not gay, but $20 is $20, right? Like I'm gonna get him that shirt because that's literally what the audience sees and they love it.
So there's you know, there's something for everyone. Every look, every color, every, you know, tattoos, no tattoos, piercings, no piercings, fat, skinny. I mean, there's.
And he touched on something when he was saying, I watched porn since I was like 12. I was watching the Spice Channel, pressing that like button to try to get the blurry thing going out like before when that was happening. I have pulled from my knowledge base of porn that I love to watch all the way back to my teenage years. And those are the scenes that I start to film and I start to create. So if you enjoyed it and you liked watching it, other people will like to watch you doing that. You know?
And you can draw inspiration from other people. Like you don't have to be like, oh, well, I don't want to copy this person. Well, you don't have to copy them. Make it your own. You know?
Yes.
Use it as
for
inspiration.
sure.
Yeah. So I have a huge question. I know that your boyfriend has trouble with you having sex with males. Does he feel the same about females?
Mr. Rizzo, how do you feel about me having sex with females? We're going to talk about that with our therapist.
Okay.
It's not a no, not a hard no. It's like I said, it's not so easy to find females to collab with.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where you're on those websites looking for females, and it's like 2, 3, 4 months, and he's like, "Why is this taking so long?" And I'm like, "Yeah, welcome to my life. It's not like I wish there was a grinder for like straight people.
Isn't Tinder that? Tinder is that?
Oh my god! Like
Tinder's full of men too. Tinder's full of men too.
Yeah,
like,
and like it takes
the only females on there are the ones trying to find a female for their male. Unicorn searching.
Sense. Right. Yeah.
But there's literally no females on there.
So that takes forever. And we've gotten close to get some girls, and then they've canceled, and then it is what it is.
There was a girl who I did find on FetLife who filmed, and she did a little bit of hand play for us or whatnot. She was a dominatrix, right? And she enjoyed. She's like, I'll love to do that. I'll film that. It'd be great. Yeah. But yeah, it's not so common, but yeah, sounds like we're going to talk about it and see where we are with it.
So that was kind of curious to me, because when it comes to the mindset of, I'm okay with you doing these certain things, but I kind of have this line that I was curious whether it kind of stayed with males only, or if it was something that blended over to females. So is it the actual act, or is it just, males in general? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling whatever it is, I'm going to respect that. Right. I have a feeling it's more like of wanting to make sure that people are aware our relationship is not like everything is kind of aired, the dirty laundry's all over the place, that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's still like I have started to try to lean into the of just having a good time with it regardless. And then that makes it a lot easier to, people have a good time. There's so much that you can do sexually that doesn't actually include the penis going into an asshole or the penis going into a vagina. And I know it's almost like I don't say lazy writing when people are, it's not necessarily lazy, but you have to work harder to find what is still exciting and interesting, to keep people engaged. And that does make you a better performer when you can do that,
For sure. So, and I've known other couples that have lines that aren't necessarily the sex portion. Maybe their partner doesn't like them kissing on the lips because that's their intimate thing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, different people have different boundaries for different reasons. Some people, they're okay with like anal only, but they don't want penetration of the vagina.
Yeah.
Ooh. And
or vice versa, right? Vagina is good, but anal's not.
Yeah. So I get really curious about I guess the different kinds of situations and how they're affected, because it kind of blends into who you are as a performer. So you kind of expressed that it made you be more creative. It kind of helped lead you to be, well, let me tell a story that isn't necessarily, I'm putting my dick in this and then I'm exploding. Let me find the story in between or somewhere around. You know what I mean? Like the creativity.
Yes.
So whenever you're looking for creativity for yourself, what inspires you?
Well, like I kind of mentioned a little bit, is like pulling from that knowledge base of the massive amounts of porn that I watch and seeing, there's so many different things that you can do, and I actually, when I first started, there was the friend of mine who does sex work, and I'm like, why? I'm not doing anal, so what else? And he's like, oh, have a seat, because we're going to talk, like there's a lot that you can do, like there's a huge amount of toys. Once you get established in the adult industry and people see you on Twitter, companies will start to send you toys and things that you can use and include in your video. Even apparel. There's a really great company out of Boston called Wicked Naughty Apparel, and they literally sent me and him and my boyfriend free shirts. If we would do like some sort of a thing with it. Mine said extra salty on it. So of course I jerked off and then tasted myself, and it was salty. So, and that was a great little, so there's a lot of different things that you can do that way.
Right.
I've gone up to my roof before, done some work out there. Like outside, there's a great view of the Hollywood sign, still secluded and nice, but you can do that. Like just, I kind of, like I said, drawing in for inspiration from just, you know, being a horny guy and just sometimes having to be like, okay, well, I'm going to have a release. How am I going to do that? You know, what's the easiest way? And, you know, I've gone through the showers before and seen guys kind of showering off. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of hot. Oh, maybe I can make a video of doing that, you know? And that's where we got the watching him video while we're showering. So you can literally pull inspiration from so many different places. Food, like bringing food into it. I did a jerk off video with a bagel on my dick.
Right, because like we do a lot of videos on this couch, and he's like, let's do something like in the kitchen, so it's like a different area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's like midnight, and he likes to eat bagels at like midnight. So it's like, let's put a bagel around your dick, and then you jerk off with that bagel like on your dick, and then when you're getting close to finish, pull the bagel off and come on the bagel. So that's what we shot.
Yeah.
The bagel fell apart. So it was still fun.
But it was extra content, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, we're in the kitchen. How do we make this work? All right, well, this is what we do.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. I love it. And like when it comes to finding inspiration, sometimes you go through dry spells too, and you need like something to kind of kickstart it, right? So I know that I've had several of those, and it's been like, man, I can't create anything right now. And then it's like everything just at one time is just like bam, 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 bam. So whenever you have those moments where you hit the dry spell and then all of a sudden you do find all this creativity, do you try to film all of that creativity at once, or do you kind of like spread it out?
I have literally my notepad is full of ideas of things that I was interested in trying. Since he spends part of his time down in Mexico with some of his other businesses, either I may not have anybody to film it if it's something I need him to film for, or I'll set up a tripod and like want to see and do it on my own. But it's always nice to jot things down so that you can refer to them and share them and see, you know, how they're going to look.
But if we could also bank on, if we can shoot as many things as we can, and then we'll just keep it in our bank, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you shoot one thing every five, you know, if we shoot one thing 5 days in a row, you don't have to post it for those 5 days. Post one.
I'm so bad at that.
And
I'm like, I need it out. I need it out.
You're so excited.
You know what I mean? Like, bank as many videos as you can or photos as you can. Like we've done professional photo shoots with him before with professional, you know, photographers, and he'll slowly drop those photos out over a couple of weeks instead of here's 20 photos. It's like here's 1 or 2, and then next week here's another one, and then, you know, a month from now here's another one, and you know, like try to bank as many as you can. You know, like I say, like don't blow your load all at the fucking same time. Spread it out as much as you can. You know? I mean, we're all like, that's what this is, right?
It's clear he loves blowing his load.
I know.
Our whole like human, as a human society, is like we want it all right now, and we want instant gratification, and we want everything now. So like if we have 5 videos banked, it's like, oh, let's post them right now. I want to see what everybody thinks of them. But from a business standpoint, it's not that smart to do that. We gotta slowly, because we might have 5 now, and then next month we might have 0. So
and
it's
I literally keep them all on like the phone that we use, and he keep it in his room. Because I'll literally be like, oh, this looks great. I'll just post a little bit of it to see people think, and before I know it, I'm like, I posted everything.
Or, you know, we'll have like 3 collabs in a week, and then for the next 2 weeks we'll have none. So it's like you have to try to, you know, if we get an idea, all right, let's shoot it to bank it. We can always use it later. It doesn't matter when we post it, as long as we have content. That's the name of the game, right? It's content. We have to have.
I like to do throwbacks too. Like
that's what I was just gonna say.
I didn't have like my chest piece or certain tattoos and stuff. I'm like a throwback to this, because I mean you can always recreate and reuse that stuff, right?
Yeah, and you're getting new subscribers every day, and they might not want to scroll through your 200, 300 plus videos that you have. Let me just repost this, and it doesn't kill anyone. Oh, you saw that video 3 months ago? Sorry, this other person didn't, so we're gonna repost it.
So here's 2 things I wanted to say to that. One, don't be afraid to redo a video that you've done that was popular, right? It was popular for a reason, and some things may have changed. So I was a massage therapist for a long time. So I just started creating a series of massage videos that I was doing, and you can do a different massage even on the same person, and it turn out differently, and it's still something exciting. So I have 3 or 4 car bait videos. I have 3 or 4 massage videos with different guys, with him a couple times, because people still enjoy that, you know, and they have, that's why people have like this a series of different things, you know. Some adult content creators are just one thing, right? Like people just do massage, or they just do solos, or that kind of thing. So don't be afraid to recycle something, especially if you haven't done it in a while.
Yes, I fucking love it. So let's kind of talk about the screening process. So whenever you're looking for somebody to collab with, what do you look for, and kind of what kind of screening do you have when you decide that you want to collab with them?
So we talked about just kind of being an established kind of a little bit in the OnlyFans world, even newer, just as long as you,
or Twitter,
like,
you know, you have to have subscribers. You know, if you have you know 200 subs to your Twitter, sorry, that doesn't really help us. You know, it is what it is. You know, it's you can help me, and we can help you at the same time. It's that cross pollination. You know what I mean? It's like, I got 200,000 followers, you have 200,000 followers, great, let's do a video. Now we have 400,000 people looking at this video instead of just 200,000. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. But if you know, if you're just starting out, great. Like, hit us back in 6 months when you have some subs. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You know, like, we were the same way when we started out.
You're serious. That also shows you're serious in doing it. I like I said, I hate discouraging new content creators from, like, you know, wanting to ask to collab, because you know, I was new and it was really rough to get started. If I didn't have him, if I didn't have my boyfriend help pulling them into videos with me, it would have just been me the whole time, which is also okay, right? Like, I had a lot where it was just me. You know,
I mean, we all start out at 0. Like, it is what it is. Like, at some point, everyone had 0 followers. OnlyFans didn't exist. Like, at some point, we're all at ground zero. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're just at a point where we're not anymore. And if you are, that's great. But, you know, hit us up in 6 months when you have something to show us. You know what I mean? Or show us that you are serious. Put out a bunch of videos. If you're on Twitter and you have 20 followers and you have no videos, and your profile is not you, and you're like, hey, let's shoot a video together.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
Sorry. What do you even look like? What do you have to? Are you contacting us because you just want to get fucked?
Then it becomes even
that's great issue. If you want to.
Not just money, but that's a safety issue.
And then also that too. So going more deeper into it is making sure that the people that I'm working with are, you know, regularly checked out, and that they are keeping their safety, their health, and that kind of thing in good you know, shape. Also making sure I don't like working with assholes, you know, and sometimes when you have a boss or coworkers, you can't control whether or not they're an asshole. In this
we can.
You can control it. So if somebody's being pushy or uncooperative, or like, those are huge red flags for me right away to be like, hey, I don't want to do it, you know? There was a guy who actually bought me a plane ticket to Atlanta to go and film, you know, big, huge star in the OnlyFans world. I told him up front that I didn't do fucking. He was like, okay, that's fine, but see if you can convince your boyfriend to let you do it. And I was like, I'll talk to him, but like, we've had this conversation, it's not gonna happen. A couple weeks later, he's like, did you, you know, like, and I was like, it's not gonna happen. Is that still okay? You know, he's like, yeah, that's fine, that's cool. And then a couple days before I was gonna leave, so I really wanna, you know, and I was like, I said that it's not gonna happen. Like, if you don't, I am feeling kind of uncomfortable now, because I feel like I'm gonna fly across country and then get there and be pressured, to do it. And so I don't necessarily think I want to do it, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
And that's something I am a nice person, and I like working with nice people, you know, people who are respectful and willing to, you know, respect my boundaries.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing.
And if you're a professional, you should want that as well. And that's
100%.
what you should be doing. If you're an actual professional and you're doing this as a business, that's important.
Yes.
So you have to, you know, we're going to respect you. You have to respect us, and it's a collab. That's what it's literally in the name. Do you want to collab? We can do single videos all as much as we want. It doesn't matter. We don't have to work with anybody. Like if you want to be an asshole or you want to, you know, whatever, we'll do solos. Like we don't care. But the name is in it. It's collaboration. It's like, what do you like? What do we like? Let's get a common ground together and make this work so that we can both get paid. I mean, that's what this is at the end of the day.
For sure. Yeah. And I feel like I know whenever I started out as a dominatrix, and then I kind of slowly moved over into the porn world. Well, you get all of these like random accounts that are either anonymous, or they have a picture of them and they don't have any followers, or they do have some followers, but they don't post any kind of content or anything. And they're like, well, I'm trying to get started with OnlyFans and I want to collab with you. And you're trying to explain to them, we're kind of on different levels. I'm not saying that I don't want to do something with you potentially in the future, but right now we're not on the same levels. And then they either get offended or they're like just really shitty about it. Well, for one, if it's an anonymous account, I'm not trying to fuck with that anyway.
Nope.
Like who's going to try to fuck with an anonymous account? Because you're looking at safety. You're looking at this person's not going to be into the work like long term. They're either going to get burnout because they don't want to put in the work, and they're not going to be lasting. So I don't want my name tied to that, because then it becomes a brand issue, right?
Yes.
Right. And that's something we've had to deal with, where it's like we'll get guys that hit us up and it's like they're not that great looking. And it's like, do we want to go down that road of we're only shooting with, people that are not that attractive, or we want to skew towards people that are attractive? It is what it is, you know?
Right. And honestly, like,
and the same thing, like you were talking about, like people hit us up and we're like, hey, I want to collab with you. And it's like, great. You don't have any videos. You don't have any photos. You have like 200 subs. Like, hit us back in 6 months when you have videos and photos, and you can show us that you're actually serious about doing this.
Yeah.
Are you contacting us?
And just to say, I have collaborated with guys before that I don't personally find attractive, right? Because they had great energy, because they were really respectful and nice, because, you know, we both brought something to the table, and it worked out, and it worked out well. So like, I don't want everyone to think like I'm like, oh, I'll only work with the, you know, these Brad Pitt type whatever's, but at the same time, I need to know that you're serious about it, that you're into it, and that you're wanting to make a good end result out of this.
Yeah, you want to do the fucking work. Because
exactly.
There are so many people that don't want to do the work. They want you to do it for them. I had several people that contacted me and they're like, oh, well, I want to start an OnlyFans. And I'm like telling them, well, you got to learn how to market yourself. You got to push traffic there, because there's no internal traffic. Anybody that's listening that don't know, there's no internal traffic. You have to push all that yourself. And they were like, well, I thought the platform paid me. And I'm like, nah, you're paying
No. There's no marketing for you. There's no nothing, right? Like, you get your OnlyFans, they're like, congratulations, welcome. This is you. You do it, you know? And it's like, holy crap, what do I do? You know?
It's on you to hustle, right?
Yeah. For sure.
And you know, and a certain aspect is, it is also like, are you attracted to this person? Because if you're not, it's going to make it harder. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
this is you speaking from somebody who had to help me get through a scene. So.
Yeah. So it's like, it does make it easier if you're kind of attracted to this person. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is. And that's just life, right? It's like, if you're an attractive person in life, you might date more and you might get, you know, a better job, because that's what that is. If it is what it is in life. And this is the same thing, you know. If you have a lot of followers and you have a lot of subs and you can offer a lot to us, great, contact us.
Right.
If you don't, all right, hit us back up in 6 months. We're not going to say no right away. Hit us up in 6 months and show us that you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
About, like you said, it's about being dedicated.
Yeah, that
it's about,
effort.
like you said, not burning out. And like, you know, if you're serious about this and you want to succeed at it, then show us that, you know.
And we're not rude about it. It's not like, fuck you, like, why are you contacting us? It's just like, it's a business. If
not
you want to
in the best
get
interest of the brand at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, if you want to get fucked, that's great. But
go on Grindr or Tinder for you people.
Like, I mean, it is what it is. You know?
I did think of a really, really great tip, by the way, because I hadn't done a lot of content in a few weeks.
Because I'm sure there's somebody listening that needs to hear the tips.
So there are on Twitter, I'm sure you've seen them, these pictures of people saying, show us your dick, show us your tits, show us that you're coming. I stumbled onto it and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm a professional, right? I just did it. I was like bored one day and I was like, oh, I'm just going to throw my dick. I had like 7 subscriptions literally in 15 minutes from people just seeing that. And I was like, holy crap, this is something that's like, you could tap into. So like every day now, if I see one, I'll throw my picture out there. What does it hurt? You know, it's a great way to get more exposure. Yeah, for sure.
And
so you guys are gonna see a lot of
in the
pictures
porn
of
industry. That's huge.
Yes.
Right. Networking is fucking huge because a part of it is who you know, because you're going to have more eyes on you. You're going to have more opportunities, the more people you know. Right.
Yeah.
And the better you work with people.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to work with somebody that's shitty.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
And I think location also matters.
Oh yes.
Because it is what it is. Like, we're in Los Angeles. There's a million people here. Like,
there's nobody.
If you're in a small town in Kentucky, who are you going to collab with? Like, sorry,
nobody.
Unless you're going to travel, you have to travel, which is great. But if you're starting out, maybe you can't afford that. So you're just doing solo videos. Nothing wrong with that at all, but there's a lot of people that are also just doing solo videos. So what makes you stand out from your next door neighbor that's also doing content, that's also doing solos?
If you're in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, you need a 13-inch penis. That's literally how or travel, and there are
like
people,
lucky for us, we're in Los Angeles. There's a million people here, you know what I mean?
Right.
It is what it is.
And if you can do that, if you can advertise that you're traveling, if you do have a little bit of a following, people will message you when you get to the locations that you're at. They'll see where you are. Change the title of your name.
Always have people lined up first, though. Don't like just blind.
Oh yeah. Don't definitely buy a ticket somewhere with no one lined up. Put in the title of your name where you're going to be and the dates that you're going to be there, and that really helps people see, and then reach out to you because visibility is huge.
Yes. So, speaking of visibility, earlier we touched on a topic. We were kind of talking about where you came from, your support system. You were kind of talking about your family being conservative. So did you come from a religious background?
Yes, I born and raised Protestant, Baptist. So
the struggles.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't so much about the porn thing, which is really interesting. Is more about the gay thing, or the bi thing, or doing things with men thing that everyone was so up and rabble roused about. So that has definitely been a huge, not obstacle or hurdle, but something to be aware of.
Right.
And once you do it, seeing all the people who really are gravitate towards, knowing that you're out there, like you can be someone who is a everyday guy, who does this kind of work. And there's a lot of people like that, but they're, not necessarily out. You have no idea how many messages I get from guys saying, oh, I'm straight, but like, I really like your content, and that kind of thing. I get a ton of people like that. It's really interesting to see how many people out there, you know, and there are a lot of straight guys who like watching gay porn, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or
they like the
guys
thrill
who
of
are,
it too.
you know,
Like
hetero
someone's
flexible
gonna
with that.
walk in and catch them or something.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I've seen his history. No, I'm joking. And a lot of people who are, you know, undefinable, that kind of thing. It's there, like I said, there's a genre for everyone in the adult film industry.
Right.
It's really important, in my opinion, to kind of keep different things that you can find alive, so that everyone can kind of feel like they can connect to something. Because just because you like something that's a little bit different doesn't make you a weird person. Doesn't make you, you know, like, there are other people out there who have a similar way of thinking, a similar attraction, and that's all okay, you know.
And there's going to be somebody out there that likes something more strange than what you think you like.
Yes,
like
100%.
There is
you
some
know,
very off the wall kind of stuff.
Right.
Like,
oh God, have you seen those penis locks? I've never heard of. I thought I was really into like porn, and I got into Twitter and I started seeing all these little locks that people are putting on their penis, and I'm like, wait, that's to keep them from getting fully aroused, and that's their thing. And I'm like, but isn't that the opposite of what you're trying to achieve? Isn't arousal the goal? But
I will let you know that some people have trained themselves to ejaculate without getting hard, so they can actually come in those cages.
Wow.
Yeah.
See? And that, I mean, you've heard of people getting put in lockers, people doing all kinds of things that, you know, and like, I think visibility kind of demystifies and makes it a little bit like, you know, you are okay, you're fine, this is what you enjoy, there's nothing wrong with that. Someone else enjoys something else, and that's totally fine.
I think another aspect is also like financial, right? It's like, if you're starting out, hey, I want to do this. Oh, that's cute. Like, you know, type of thing. But it's like, all right, now you're making serious money off of this. Maybe it's like, to your family or your friends, it's a little bit more acceptable, because it's like, hey, it's paying for my rent and my car payment.
Right.
You know, it's not just oh, I'm doing it for the fun of it, and that's what my friends think it is. You know what I mean? So that could be an aspect of it as well. When you're starting off, it's like, well, you know,
that's the first question I get asked.
You just like to jerk off on film and camera and like want to have sex with a bunch of guys. But now it's like a business. Oh, you're getting thousands of dollars to do this? Yeah, that's pretty great.
Literally the first question I get asked when I do tell people, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm paying my rent and his rent. And they're like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. You know, it does help.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's what my friends are like. Yeah, my friends are like, you're shooting gay porn? And I'm like, yeah, it's paying my rent.
Yeah. What are you doing at Walmart?
Score. I'll take that.
Yes, for sure.
I'll take that any day. Over any corporate job, in fact. It's so much more. I love the creativity. I love the freedom. And I know you were talking about how it kind of helped build your confidence. And I have talked to so many people that it has. It literally, it's like an internal fluffer.
Yes.
Like, it helps you learn how to like peacock and love yourself and carry yourself and just accept yourself. Like, it's so therapeutic, right? Did you have a
really
like
is
that?
Yeah, no, it really is. And it like I said, everyone has those insecurities, you know, that self-doubt, that self-talk. It does really help you to kind of look at yourself differently, and, you know, be like, you know what, maybe I am, you know, what these people say, you know, when they're seeing me from an outward perspective, and this whole self-doubt thing I've been telling myself for so long isn't the reality, you know, and that's a hard thing to internalize. But if you can do that, you know, this is a really great way to help with that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So We kind of talked a little bit about your past with the religion and kind of your background. Did you have any kind of abuse that you suffered whenever you were a child, a teenager, or an early adult? It doesn't matter whether it's mental, physical, or emotional.
I did have some abuse from when I was a child, coming from my paternal side, from my dad when I was young. Not sure how much that must have played into my sexual and psychological development.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it probably had something to do with it. I think it more had to do with kind of abandonment issues that I've kind of realized more than sexual issues. Because I knew what I liked and what I didn't like even before, when I was very, very young, you
Right.
know? So I think that was more of, I think it definitely played into some insecurities that I have,
Right.
you know? But doing adult work and adult film work has really helped with me being more comfortable with like, hey, you know, this is who I am. And you know what? If you don't like it, fuck off. You know, I don't care. You aren't paying my bills. Right? So like this is, so I think that has really been helpful in that way. So I always kind of hesitate because there's been so many people, millions and millions of children and young adults who have been abused, who do really well and turn out okay. So as much as I know that can always be a part of it, I don't like to hang my hook on that and say that that's why. You know, there's so many other factors to life, and you can always be well adjusted and still deal with like trauma and things like that as a child. So
and therapy is great for that.
Yeah.
Anybody that's listening that does not know, therapy works.
Therapy is great.
Yes, huge for sure. I have a couple therapists. I have an individual therapist. I listen in on his therapy. No, I'm not supposed to. No, it's definitely
it's
helpful.
Not another shower scene.
I know, right?
Just want to be left alone.
So yeah, no, I really think that, and honestly, this work it's also therapeutic, you know, like in my daily life, I don't get that creative outlet, you know, that I get with being able to think of ideas and to do things and actually make them into a reality, show them to people and have them enjoy that. Like that is such I can't state enough how big of a thing that is, you know. There are times when I don't really even want to shoot the scene because that can be my least favorite part about it. But the fact that I created this scene and that like I thought of this idea and seeing the end result, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
For sure. And it's one of those things where I found that over the span of my career, I grew in confidence. I grew in I guess self-love and just empowerment overall. So it's like I'm not the same person I was when I started out, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? Like you kind of started out as one person and then as you went through your career, you've kind of evolved.
I mean, I want to say yes, because on some level of me just kind of being comfortable with what I like and what I don't like and that kind of thing, and being okay with that. I've always been, you know, comfortable with being looked at. It would be just because, like I said, you know, BDE, I mean, I have the BD, so it is easy to come along with that. Like, you know, but in terms of what I like, it's definitely helped cement and solidify, you know, like we were talking about, chemistry is a big thing for me, you know, and I didn't really understand that as much as I understand now, because when you get that camera in your face, you know, if there isn't good chemistry, even if I think that the person is attractive, then it's not working, you know, it's not working for me. And I've really kind of started to understand that a little bit more about myself. So kind of understanding why my body kind of does what it likes to do it's really kind of helpful, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm the camera guy, so I'm just like, just do it. Come on, let's
go.
That's
do
easy.
it. I like give him the stare down. I'm like, just do it.
When we first started, he had these eyes that were boring into my soul, and I was like, you are not helping. Like, will you like? Please.
I'm like, if 15 minutes is coming up, let's go. Let's finish up.
And it was sweet retribution when he filmed the scene and he wasn't able to do what he needed to do, and I was
That's
like,
not true. I can.
oh. And then he was able to play. He's like, oh, it's because I'm straight. I'm like, oh, okay, is that why? He literally got a girl to film him, and he still didn't finish. And I'm like, oh, what is it now? He's like, it's just not. It's not as easy as I thought it was. I'm like, I know, it's not, is it? Yeah, exactly. Those eyes became a lot softer after that. A lot softer.
Oh, my cheeks hurt. Oh, that's too good. Oh, I love it. I love it. I've loved the entire process.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
I will say there's nobody I would rather. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I was gonna say there's nobody I'd rather be doing this with. He's been a huge help and like helping me through a lot of this realization and really being supportive. He can have a tough love kind of thing. So in the moment, I'm like, fuck you, I hate you. But then I turn around after and I look at it and he'll send me a heart text emoji before I go to sleep. And be like, you did a good job, that kind of thing. So I do really appreciate that. So if you can have someone that you do work with, that you do trust to kind of help talk you through some issues that will come up, that is very, very, very important.
Yeah. Extremely valuable.
Yeah, extremely valuable.
At the end of the day, like, we're in this together, right? If he doesn't perform and he doesn't do what he needs to do, that affects our video, that affects everything, that affects us getting paid.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So, but it is what it is.
Pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, exactly. So, that's a reality of the situation. So you have to have a partner or someone that you're working with that also understands that and helps you get through that process, because no one's doing this by themselves. I mean, let's be real. You always, whether you're collabs or you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife or a team behind, we work with some people where they have a team where that team will post their stuff and respond to all the messages and do all those things. No one's doing this by themselves.
And if you have decided to do it and you feel like you are by yourself and you are alone, just remember, like, there are other people going through the same thing that you are as beginning out. I did find a couple of really great groups in FetLife. I don't know if you guys if you heard of that website.
Yeah.
They do have OnlyFans groups where you can, throw out suggestions, or if you're looking for photographers or videographers or collaborators, where you can actually get that, because it is important for you to be able to share your thoughts and get other ideas and opinions, because it is really difficult to do it all on your own, just with no input, with no bouncing off ideas from someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
there's going to be days where you just don't have the capacity to do it, and you just need something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it's inspiration.
And being safe at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, that's a huge aspect of it as well. Like, he wanted to do a photo shoot downtown in a warehouse, and he's like, will you come with me? Because I don't know this guy and he could kill me. Like, who the hell knows?
He wanted to tie me up, and I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not going.
He literally was like,
by myself. Where they tie me up.
I'm not being a rope bunny with somebody I don't know.
Have we watched Dahmer? Have we not learned anything?
So you have to be safe at the same time, and you have to have that team around you, or that person around you that's looking out for you at the same time,
Yes. And I mean, sometimes it's hard to find that person, because not everybody is trustworthy. It's just like a regular friendship, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody's trustworthy. And it's like whenever you're doing your collabs, like, some people are going to show up, and then you're going to have other people that are super, super fucking flaky. Like, there's good and bad in all situations. It's just a matter of you got to find those good ones and hold on to them. Right.
Yes, for sure.
Right.
Okay. So my last question for you today is going to be, I need to know what strengths you feel you have that made you successful in sex work.
You mean like physical attributes, like mental attributes?
I want to hear it all. What do you
want to hear it all?
Yes.
Okay.
What gives you the strength you need to be successful?
The strength that I need to be successful. Okay. Because I can start with the obvious and say, like, okay, if you have that one body part, which doesn't have to be your dick, whatever. For me, luckily it is. But whatever it is that you have that you feel maybe sets you apart,
lean into that.
Lean into it. Really, even if you think it might be a flaw, it could turn out to be an actual asset.
Like scars.
Yes,
I have a huge thing for scars, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, don't look at that; it's ugly." And I'm like, "No, it's not ugly."
Yes,
show me the dimples, show me the scars.
One of these guys who actually I was collaborating with, his boyfriend is a little person, right? And he is huge in the OnlyFans, like absolutely gigantic in the OnlyFans community, no pun intended, right? Like he is, and so things that you could think might be like a liability aren't necessarily that, right? So you can just look into that and lean into that.
I think also like not being afraid to do something, and it might not work, right? But it might work. You know what I mean? Like, try it. If it doesn't work, well, you wasted, I don't know, 5 minutes and you did one video, and it is what it is. Like, but if it works, then it works, and then you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to fail. And
I've seen stuff not take off right away too. Like you put it out.
Well, that's the only thing. It takes a while. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get 100 followers in the first 5 days, whatever. It takes time. It builds up slowly.
Some people might. Honestly, everyone's heard the stories about such and such's cousin who threw up a couple pictures on OnlyFans, and all of a sudden she had 200,000 people, right? Like it doesn't happen to the majority of people, but it could happen.
Right.
But we've had the same thing where you've had, there was a guy who has been on Twitter for 3 years, and we've been on Twitter for less than a year, and we have more followers than him already.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
So like moving towards like the attributes that adaptability, right? Patience. Right,
because you're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna be like, this guy canceled, this guy canceled, this person canceled, this person canceled, and it's like, like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like, fuck this. You know what I mean?
Because you will get frustrated. You will get like, is this worth it? Right. And at the end of the day, if you can kind of stay the course and keep going, like, and you start to see those numbers creep up, there's also, roadblocks that happen, right? So being able to figure out what you can do when when your Instagram account gets shut down for you posting a picture of shoes, and you.
I was so pissed. I'm gonna tell you.
I literally I had to take a couple days after that. Like I worked so hard on that Instagram page,
and you lose those fans too.
50,000 followers on Insta we had, and then
Instagram I had like 3,000 followers on Instagram, right? And then I had like I was like, let me focus more on Twitter, but like 3,000 from zero, starting from none, with not able to add any of your friends to get into 3,000. And then having them shut it down for like a picture of a moose over his crotch. I was so mad, but having that.
My fault. It's always my fault.
It was totally his fault because it was a moose.
Yep.
And just being able to say, you know what, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to pivot. I still have these other platforms I'm going to work on. I'm going to restart my Instagram. And like listen and kind of take into consideration what happened last time, and come back. Now I have 6,000 followers on Instagram, you know? So it's a matter of making sure that you know there are going to be hard times, there are going to be hard days, but there are going to be other days that are just like when I did a collab with that guy who that POV, like I got 30 subscriptions in a day. You know, for me, that was like that was amazing.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
And it was huge. And it literally made like all the hard work that we have been doing to start to see some return worth, you know, all of that heartache and the canceled collaborators and all of that stuff. It does, if you are persistent with it, if you are smart in how you kind of market yourself and you stick with it, it will get easier, you know? Yeah.
And there's a reason some people have teams, because it's hard fucking work.
It is.
Like hard fucking work.
Well, I mean, this guy approached me literally 2 days ago and was like, yeah, I'd love to take you on. And he's like, I'm going to answer your messages from you. I'm like, that's all? I'm like, what else are you going to do? I'm like, because that's just a little part of it. Like, if you're really talking about helping, I'm going to need a little more than that.
And it's not for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, this is not everyone loves to fuck and all these things. This is not for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hard reality, is you have to actually.
Yeah. What about those days that you don't want to fuck, that you have to fuck?
Exactly. Right. Oh, I dread. And then, you know, me being in like, you know, not wanting to let anyone else down, not let him down. They're the collaborators, you know, you're like psyching yourself up to get through it, you know, and that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's a business, you know, you approach it like that and you see it like that. And when they cancel, you're like, oh, thank God.
Just this time, though.
Just this time. Just this time.
I love it. Thank you guys for joining us on Forbidden Depths. I do want to go ahead and mention, make sure you get on over, follow Joe on Twitter, because I'm going to tell you, I've been following him for a little while. It's more than worth the follow. Okay.
Thank
it's
you.
At Joe_Silver XXX. You'll love it. Thank you guys so much for being amazing.
Thank you so much, Queen.
We had a great time. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You guys have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at 4BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.